it is very important that we stay ahead of all the emerging trends, which is very important for both franchisors and also franchisees. And at Franchise India, we specialize in helping businesses navigate these shifts with a lot of tailored strategy and expert guidance. In this webinar, like I said, we'll delve into some of the key trends, predictions for 2025, which offers a lot of actionable insights for prospective franchisees like you to thrive in this evolving marketplace. So I'll start with a brief introduction also about Franchise India, and I'll also request friends if you can make the session engaging and interactive. I'd like to hear also from all of you. If you're looking for any specific business opportunity, you're exploring any business already, or at any stage of your cycle of exploration, we'll be happy to work with you and meet you to brainstorm these opportunities. So at our company, Franchise India, we've been working for the past 27 years with entrepreneurs like yourself who invest and operate in business opportunities. And the very, I would say, prominent and a big vision that we had, which also remains true today, was to make every Indian self-reliant through entrepreneurship. And through all our group companies today, we operate in about 97 cities in India and 14 countries. So any city perhaps that you come from, we have a local team advisor who can work with you, meet with you. And we have a 90% market share. And we also create through our group companies a lot of intelligent synergies, which actually leverages each other's strength. And we have a big interest in franchising, licensing, real estate, mid-market M&A, and also market entries where we work with a lot of global companies to help them enter different markets, including India. But what has remained important all these years and the driving force for Franchise India has been to remain a very big catalyst in this ecosystem and space. And we have been a change agent to see this entrepreneur community evolve over the last 2.5 decades. And we've always focused as a company to remain investor-centric and franchise-focused. So we're looking for trends as a company, which are also mega trends in international markets. And our team at Franchise India and our international company, Fran Global, which operates in international markets, we continuously reach out to such companies and concepts in the Indian market and also from the international market. The year 2025, Franchise India, Fran Global, we signed up with about 45 companies as a master franchisee ourselves to bring these formats and concepts to the Indian market and introduce more than 70 companies from across the globe to our investor community in India. So we understand as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, the mindset is our mindset is very closely, working with the millions of franchisees, help them in their entire journey of buying a business. And we undertake a complete process of diagnostics so that we're able to give you solutions which are only unique to you. Now, in franchising, it is more than about choosing a brand. Most of the times when I speak to any investor who's looking for an opportunity, they're just searching for brands that can be offered. But it is more than that, So first and foremost, it is aligning your own personal and financial goals with the right opportunity. This is very important, which also means that any opportunity which might be right for an individual might not be the right fitment for the other. Second, we need to understand is the overall investment landscape, which also includes the working capital, which is involved in starting the business. And third, I would say, is building a very solid support system to ensure that long-term success for an operator franchisee to run and operate the business. And this solid support system can come from your inner circle, your family, your partners, and also solid team to run and operate these business. And as a prospective franchisee, I would say you need to look at the top 5 criteria when considering to invest in a franchise business. First and foremost, the top thing in any investor's mind is how easy is for him to get into the business. So ease of doing business is very, very important, which means how the company has put their systems, processes, and do the training for a franchise partner makes it comparatively easy for him to get and sustain in the business. Second, you must focus on the risk and the reward analysis because there's a lot of fear when we look at investing in any opportunity, and especially for the first time business buyer. And this community today is becoming very, very big. The fear is coming from uncertainty, which means that we don't know what we are getting into. So we need to realize and also do a deep analysis on the risk and the rewards which are associated with the opportunity. And third is your go-to market, which is most importantly your micro market assessment, which is very, very critical. Fourth is the life of the opportunity, which means how long is that opportunity or that brand relevant? Is it going to be relevant in the next 10 to 20 years or not? Is very, very important, because most of the businesses that we do or the investments which are done by us are always based on the consideration of a futuristic approach. And finally comes the industry, and I would say the specific category that you're investing in, a lot of insights on that industry, how big is the total addressable market, and how is your market demand on that particular brand or category. Now, India, if you look at the current opportunity, we will be the largest franchise market in the world, with a powerhouse of consumption that it sits on, which means it also needs a very solid collaboration of credible and responsible franchisors and franchisees to come forward. And at Franchise India, we've been at the forefront of the industry. We have been sensing and analyzing trends much before people are able to see them. So I'll talk about some of the trends which will become very, very prominent in this year. And we saw a reflection of these trends in the last year, but these trends will become more and more stronger and prominent as we start this year. So if we talk about franchising, it is directly proportionate to the consumption. And we all know that consumption cycles today are changing, and India is also reaching the global average of consumption. And given the Indian consumption story, I agree, and we all would, that we're still behind these ratios in the global average in terms of our per capita consumption in many categories. And the growth in consumption cycles is directly proportionate to franchising, right? So as the consumption grows, your franchising would also increase. And so some of the trends, friends, franchise development, if we look at, and since we operate out of India and a lot of international markets, there's a big trend of franchise development in emerging markets like India. And as emerging economies also present a very significant growth opportunity for a lot of international brands and global companies, especially, I would say, a lot of Asian brands from UK, Singapore, Malaysia, Middle East, they're looking to come to India. And a lot of times, when I also, a lot of these global companies write to me on LinkedIn, and they're all very excited to come to India. And it looks like a feeling they don't want to miss the bus. And these brands come with a lot of solid proof of concept, which is even beyond their home markets. And also, most importantly, I would say they have category leading returns because they have perfected their business model, their systems, their product, and they represent a very significant growth space in a market like India. The second trend, which is catching up, is a trend of a lot of big investors now coming in, becoming either an area franchisee or master franchisee, which will become very, very big in India. And this has been the case in America also. America is one of the leading economies and also in franchising. So as the industry progresses and matures, more and more, I would say, mature players come into franchising, both from the demand and the supply side, which means from the franchisor side and the franchisee side. And same thing that we saw in America in 1950s. There were only 100 companies were in business format franchising. Fast forward 1960, this number grew almost 9x, and these companies were almost about 900 companies with more than 2 lakh outlets that were operating in America at that point in time. And the era from 1960 to 1990 was marked by a very big rapid growth in America with a lot of international brands, where the homegrown brands started going international. And like I said, the last year at Franchise India and Fran Global, we also saw a very big, massive interest coming from family offices, family businesses, enterprises, a lot of HNIs, families, and senior professionals who wanted to take up this opportunity. In fact, most of the brands, international brands that we introduced in this year, we saw this trend actually actualize. The third trend, which I also would like to highlight, is a multi-brand ownership. So giving a reference of America, the average multi-brand franchise owner in America operates almost about 5.2 franchise locations, which are operated by them. And these multi-unit operators also become very diversified, which means they also look at opportunities beyond a specific industry. And we have almost about 50% of units which are operating in America are all multi-unit operators. But unlike India, the multi-unit operations go beyond 100, 200 locations in America. The fourth trend, which is very, very prominent now, is also a lot of younger cohort is coming ahead and taking up franchise opportunities. And this age group starts from about late 20s to, I would say, late 30s, which is very, very active and coming very proactively to lead the ownership. And the fifth trend is there are a lot of big corporates today which are coming into franchising. So there's big corporatization of franchising, which has been witnessed in 2024. And all these companies are also bringing a lot of their new brands into franchising, which are listed companies, mature companies like Reliance, Tata, Raymond's. We work with all of them. And if you look at their expansion plans, they have a huge plans for this year. And companies like Reliance would have a plan of at least about 100 rollout for each of these retail companies. The sixth trend that we saw and would see, become even more bigger would be business from home rather than work from home. Business from home is going to become a very big trend. And these are concepts which are micro franchise trends or concepts in beauty care services, which are B2B services. These are B2C services, direct to consumer services, direct to business services. It is $1 billion industry globally. And given the technology that we have access to, it enables you to do these businesses from home. The seventh trend, which I'll talk about, is the new generation businesses, especially in the gaming zones. Originally, this was viewed as a children diversion, attracting very limited attention compared to TV, movie, music. Gaming is now by far the fastest growing sector in the media industry. Now, with the average player age exceeds more than 30 years, unlike what it was, I would say, 10 years back. And there's also a very big rise of a lot of casual games, which are designed to be played in short periods of time, which has actually driven the innovation. And to give you example of some companies that we introduced about 3 months back, there's a company from Middle East, which is My Golf, which is also planning to come to India. They're introducing these golf simulators, which come with a very experiential centers, with the restaurant, the bar, and the gaming zone where people come in community to play. The eighth trend, which is also going forward, is hyper local, which is quick commerce companies like Zepto. We worked with them for the last almost 3 years. We've been working with Zepto to help them uh, have partners in regions. And this trend is going to continue with a lot of companies, including even Amazon, which is coming into hyper local business. This trend is going to stay and become more big and stronger in 2025. And finally, I would say these are concepts which are related to children, which are early learning concepts, which are going to be very, very prominent. And at Franchise India Fan Global, we introduced a lot of these concepts last year, and they were met very strongly and positively, especially by a lot of women entrepreneurs who operate these centers across their markets. And finally is your specialty concept. And when I say specialty concept, these are concepts which come with a lot of experience. And these experiential concepts have to have a differentiator, right? So there was a recent study that was discovered where 72% of millennials today globally in India, they prefer to invest in experiences over traditional goods. So this is a trend globally, and a big emphasis on unique experience of customer is only intensifying this year. So before I go further, friends, I'll also request you, if you want to share a bit about yourself, I'd like to ask you a few questions that will help me understand your profile and where you come from. And like I said, the community of investors is something which is very, very important to us. Our teams at Franchise India, they go out to research opportunities based on the demand that we receive from the market. And there are a lot of brands that we have not only searched in India, but we have also worked with a lot of HNIs and companies to bring international brands to Indian market based on the demand that we got from entrepreneurs like you. So if you want to understand any specific category, or you have already explored certain opportunities, I'll be happy to hear from you. And couple of questions which will help me to diagnose a little bit of your interest and where you come from. If you can use the Q&A box and write maybe just a line. And first and foremost, I'd like to know if you are already in a franchise business or any form of business. Second, if you are a professional or a first-time business buyer, please write you're a first-time business buyer. Third, if you have already explored any particular category or an industry you have interest in, please write that. And fourth would be your city of interest where you want to open the business. So I'll request you all to please go in the Q&A box and write. I'll be happy to take your names and also the city. So guys, keep writing in. I see a lot of you have joined in, but I'll request all of you to also interact, because more I hear from you, our understanding of people who have joined becomes a big. I see some of you already started to write in. So guys, I'll request all of you. I see Naveen ji, Mr. Pankaj, Mr. Pavan Das, Payal, Pooja. So a lot of you have joined the webinar. Guys, please go ahead and write. And as you write, I'll also pick up your names. And any questions that you have, you can also write these questions. We'll be happy to answer that. So while you do that, I will also give you a little understanding on the assessment tools which any investor needs to undertake before investing in an opportunity. And this was also the reason why we started the Investor Advantage program, which is a solution that we built for investors. So where we undertake you some of the most important assessment tools and caution that you must take before investing in any business. And we start with four prominent assessment tools, which starts with your own self-assessment being the very first important criteria. Second is understanding and assessing the industry that you want to invest in. Third is your market assessment, which is a micro market assessment, which can be very different in each of the markets. And fourth is the competition assessment. And fifth is the assessment of the brand that you want to invest in. So these are the five assessment tools which actually become a foundation that can assist you to evaluate your level of fitment. And I'll explain all these one by one. So when I talk about self-assessment, it to me is the most valuable tool for any aspiring entrepreneur who's looking to start a new business. And here you need to evaluate traits like your business skills, your experience, the knowledge if you have on that business, which comes with a lot of your experience, maybe in the industry, your profession, education, the investment appetite, and most important, I would say, your ability to meet the challenges that the business gives you. So you need to here define your life goals and business goals. And this is a self-discovery phase, I would say. You need to understand your goals of life, your life events, your time commitment to the business. And I would say be very, very honest to yourself. And successful business is not just about the ROI, right? But what value you're building in business. And if you're able to sustain that over a period of time is extremely important. The next area you need to focus on is the capital which you have to invest in the business. At Franchise India, we always advise that you avoid too much of leverage and you invest within your expertise and means. The biggest reason for any business failure is lack of financial management. So as a rule, we always advise that bring in at least 50% of the capital, your own equity, and 50% can be a softer loan that you can undertake. And depending on the nature of the business, if your investment is less than 40 lakhs, 30 lakhs, bring in a larger equity, which means at least 70% of the investment you need to bring yourself, and 30% can be a softer loan which can be taken. The second area is the assessment of the industry, which is a choice of the industry, and anything performs for one may not perform for another. So do your research. Our consultants at Franchise India are trained to work with you. So don't jump into just any brand and partnerships. Some industries have a high gestation cycle, which can be the nature of the business of industries like, for example, recycling, but they are sunshine industries and they have long-term sustainability. So the choice of industry has the following I would say dynamics which you need to understand. The first and foremost, you need to know how big is the opportunity size. Is it overcrowded? Is it commoditized? Can you as a business owner, can you have the first mover advantage? And I see that happening a lot of times, especially in international brands when you bring to the Indian market. I see a lot of hungry entrepreneurs who jump on to take these opportunities to have the first mover advantage in that segment. The second thing that you need to focus on is to understand the growth prospect of that industry, right? Or that particular opportunity, which requires thinking and acting on a time horizon of years and not months, which means any opportunity that you consider, it has to be future fit, has to have relevance for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And third area comes your market assessment, which is extremely critical, which means your need gap is very, very important to be understood, which involves analyzing current trends offered in the market to the extent they are meeting the customer needs or not. And this gap can be in the level of service, this gap can be in the level of product, and not always, I would say, price. So find if you're able to close this gap and the opportunity that you have selected actually fills this gap in your market. And the second area I'll talk about is to also understand the regulations in that industry. Every industry have regulations which are both a subject with the state and also the center, which includes regulations like your liquor license policy, the food license, the drug license that you need to run and operate a pharmacy store. And the other area is to understand the location, the real estate, the rentals in your market. The thumb rule that we follow every time when we advise our investors in opening a real estate or choosing a real estate for their respective brands, you need to go out and find the top competitors in the market. So when I say the top competitors, it is not always a national brand or an international brand operating in your market, but sometimes your local competition is much more stronger than the bigger brand, right? So you find out which are the top maybe four competition in the market, which can be a combination of your local competitors and maybe regional or national brands, and find out what locations they're doing the best business, right? So even if there are, say, 10 locations of a specific brand operating in your market, all these 10 locations would not give the throughput, which is same. So find out these locations and your possibility and probability to do well in the location which is performing the top and you open next to them would be much higher in that case. The fourth area is do a competition analysis. So which means any competitive advantage that your opportunity that you have selected gives over the competition. Understand the performance of the brand, the penetration of the brand. And most importantly, is the opportunity bringing any kind of differentiation which is not offered in the market by any other player? That is where a lot of conversion starts happening, because most of the businesses that you would select, there is somebody already operating that, people are already consuming that business. There has to be reason why somebody would convert to that opportunity. So find out that differentiation, which can again be, like I said, it can be in the product value proposition, it can be the service value proposition, it can also be a price proposition. And finally comes your assessment of the brand which you want to take. And here you need to understand the founder, the legacy of the company, the commitment of the brand. The second area, as the company scales, they need to be more process oriented, right? So which means how standardized are their systems, processes, because operational efficiency is very important for any business to scale and also reduce deviation. It is easy for you to replicate the business when the system comes with standard and the company trains you on these SOPs. And the third area is understanding the legal agreement, especially in a country like India. We work on a British contract, and anything which is put in the contract becomes the binding between the partners. So understand your exit clause, understand the obligations as a franchise partner, and equally the support the company renders you during the course of your agreement, the renewal terms in the agreement, any kind of reinvestment which is required during the tenure of the agreement. All these are very important terms to be understood before you sign the agreement. And finally comes your operating cost and reinvestment. So operating costs are typically your expenses, which include your working capital towards inventory. If you're in a retail business, you need a lot of working capital for stock investment, because rotation of stock is what is proportionate to the overall revenue that center or a store can do. So operating cost includes your inventory, stock that you keep, your salaries, your rentals, and utility expenses. And most importantly, all these costs also escalate every year. So is your sale or the revenue which your center is doing, your outlet is doing, proportionate to the escalation of these operating costs or not? So friend, this is what I had to give today. We also have a very interesting webinar which is coming up at 12 o'clock. Every day at Franchise India for the last 4 years now, we bring in a fresh opportunity for all our investor community. And I would advise, especially for the first-time business buyers, if you're looking to invest in an opportunity and you've not even selected an industry or perhaps a brand, it is important that you educate yourself on different franchise options which are available in the market. So on these webinars, we bring in the leadership of companies, the management of the companies who come and discuss their business model. So I'll request all of you to join in our webinar at 12 o'clock today. I will also leave our hotline number and also an email ID if you want to reach out, and if you want anybody in our team to perhaps set up a meeting, we'll be more than happy to brainstorm these options with you. So I'll put the hotline number. And Sanjeev, if we can share the link of our 12 o'clock webinar. So our hotline number is 9717683838. You can WhatsApp on this number. You can also call on this number. And if you allow me a moment, we'll also put a link of a webinar at 12 o'clock. It is a company which is in the F&B space, which is Top Up Holy Soda. So I'll just paste that link for all of you. We have the founder of the company who's coming in today. They already operate in West Market. They're looking at a small investment, which can be in think starting from about 20 odd lakhs, a small and tighter format they operate in. So I'll quickly post that for you. And like I said, every day we do these webinars. And if you want to have an access to these webinars for the new opportunities that we bring in, you can write to us and we'll be happy to share that link with you. So thank you, friends, once again. Have a great